Maybe. Let's see what's going on here.
Try and hide it. And again, I started this conversation. You may be very pleased with your personal appearance. And if that's the way you feel about it, certainly, I know a lot of people do, but a lot of people are very uncomfortable and they like.
Some people claim to like being fat. Honestly, after being fat for a good portion of my life, I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. I don't, anybody that I've known that's been fat hasn't liked it. It's this new age, I don't know what it is.
A solution. So when you eat too many calories, like you eat all these rich foods that I just showed you, or you feed your dog and cat too many calories or whatever, you have to rebalance the situation if you're going to lose weight. It's calories in versus calories out. It's the law of thermodynamics. You can't beat it.
I 100% agree, and I know anybody who's seen more than one of my videos is going to be like, well, I told you. I 100% agree with this. If you're going to eat fat and high protein and the standard American diet, then yes, you're going to have to eat like 3 calories a day. If that's your thing, go for it.
And I see 3 options to rebalance the situation when you overstuff too much rich food. You can starve, in other words, portion control, in other words, diet, or you can make yourself sick, which are the low carbo, keto, Atkins type diets, or you can eat a starch-based diet, which is the diet for people. That's your 3 choices. I can think of none other. The first choice, portion control while in pain, because you're always in pain. You can live to be 95 years old and it's never going to feel good to be hungry. It's a drive that's there to keep you alive. It forces you to take in calories so you survive. You can't beat it, but you try. You try by saying to yourself, I have willpower. I can stand the pain, the suffering. You can, but just for a short period of time, and then you give up, you go back and eat.
That is the majority of the people on this planet who are fat. They think they can beat the law of thermodynamics, and they can't. So the food that you've got to eat is something that is going to trigger the satiation in your body. Now, everybody's like, well, you tell everybody to smash it in, smash it out. They're combining me with DURIANRIDER. I've never said to smash it in, smash it out, or smash it in, or whatever he says. I said eat until you're full if you're eating the correct food.
Hungry, so hungry you say, I'd eat the paint off the refrigerator. And then you ask for help dealing.
That's some lead poisoning right there.
With this pain, help with starvation, help with portion control. And of course, we have surgeons out there that will rearrange your intestinal tract and cause you to develop malabsorption as a consequence of their surgery intervention. And we have drug companies that have tried to give you pills that somehow diminish your hunger drive, but they've been a consistent failure over the years. Too little weight loss, too toxic. This has not been a good option for people. And so out of desperation, what folks have been doing, and they do it over a cycle of years, and they used to do it in the 70s, and now it's very popular in the these new times. In fact, 1990s to 2000, the low carb keto diets became very popular. I don't see them waning much these days, but that's your other choice.
That's what I got into, in the late 90s is when I got into it. And I'm still dealing with the damage from it.
You can go on a keto diet. A keto diet, what does keto refer to? It refers to ketosis. Ketosis is a state that develops naturally when you are starving to death or suffering severe prolonged illness.
Now that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
When you're starving, you don't want to suffer the pain of hunger so that you can't think about getting yourself out of trouble. So after about 2 or 3 days, you go into a state of ketosis, which suppresses the appetite. Likewise, when you're sick, you're not supposed to be gathering and preparing food. You're supposed to be recuperating. So you go into a state of ketosis. Well, if you take enough sugar, carbohydrate out of your diet, you will go into a state of sickness, a state of starvation, which are the keto, Atkins type diets, the low carb diets. And how long can you stay sick? Well, a lot of people say not very long. In fact, a lot of people will tell me that's the worst choice they ever made as far as.
Yeah, I was stupid enough to keep doing it. But yeah, it's the worst thing. I mean, you're always, I don't like coffee. I don't like the smell. I don't like the look. I don't like the taste. I don't like it being around me. I don't want it in my house. I don't want it on my block, the zip code. The stuff is terrible. So I was just taking basically legal Adderall. I was taking ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin combination.
A dietary change. But I know they were thrilled initially, because when you go on these keto diets, what happens is you burn up your carbohydrate reserves, which are the glycogen molecules that are in your liver and in your muscles. And you carry around about 2 pounds of glycogen invisibly in your liver and muscles. And when you stop eating,
I have to assume, and I know I've said this before, what does he base that on? Because I'm a pretty large dude, and I got a lot of muscle mass on me. I guarantee I store more than 2 pounds of this. This is probably, see, they base all of these things off a 150-pound male that's like 5'8". All of these studies are usually based around that number.
Sugar, glycogen is sugar. Then what happens is you utilize the glycogen stores, because that's the preferential food of the body. It's the fuel of the body. Is sugar, glycolysis, glycogen. It all comes to go together. And so you take and you mobilize that 2 pounds that are in your liver and muscles of glycogen. Along with that 2 pounds comes 4 pounds of water. So you lose a total of 6 pounds in the first 4, 5, 6, 7 days. You go, nirvana, I finally discovered the diet I've been looking for forever. And then, of course, you go into ketosis, you lose your appetite, you're sick. And you
lose your hair, liver damage, kidney damage. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You can't sleep.
You can keep it up for a while, but there's so many complications related to your health.
When you don't have enough carbohydrates in your system, your body cannot sleep well. That's why when people under carb themselves, or even take 2 food calories, if you want to call it that, or go into that, that's most of the time people can't sleep because of that.
Including increased risk of dying of heart disease, kidney stones, all kinds of problems.
The reason being is your body thinks it's starving itself, and the last thing it needs to do is sleep right now. It needs more calories, if you want to call it that.
Too big a price to pay. So you can be in pain, or you can make yourself sick. Or the third option, there has to be a diet for human beings, don't you think? All the other animals, the hippopotamuses, the alligators, the piranhas, even all the insects, they have a diet that's ideal for them, that makes them look, feel, and function their best. Don't you think there ought to be such a diet for us, for people? Obviously, we haven't discovered that diet, at least as far as the world picture goes. 80% of the people in developed countries are either obese or overweight, and they're sick with cancer and heart disease and diabetes and constipation. We haven't figured out that diet, I don't think. Hopefully you'll find that what I have to tell you over the next few minutes will convince you that we do know the diet for human beings. Even though we malign it, we ignore it, we know what people are supposed to eat. Now, if you don't believe me, when I get done with this lecture, then what I encourage you to do is go find some guru you do believe. Ask whoever you want to lead you in the direction of better health, what do you believe is the best diet for human beings? I'm going to tell you.
Water, nothing else.
Tell you what I believe is the best diet for human beings. In fact, we offer this diet. We offer it on our website, drmcdougall.com.
He's too skinny. He needs to go on keto.
As a free program. You don't have to pay for anything. Instructions on how to get ready for the program, on laboratory tests that you should get.
The only thing about McDougall that I don't understand is the fruit thing. I don't get that at all.
On relationships you should have with your medical doctor, on how to shop, how to put together meals. And a whole bunch of recipes are there and available for you free, no gimmicks. And the food's really delicious. We have over 4,000 recipes that
I can't believe he's got bread in here. So bad for you. Just kidding. Those mashed potatoes look good, though.
Mary has published over the years, and we have 1,000 of them on the McDougall mobile cookbook app. Any kinds of pure fats or oils, they're 9 calories per gram. Very
All right, so this is why you can smash it in. If you look at this diagram, because I don't want to make this an 80-minute video. If you look at this diagram, this is fat, margarine, oil, cheese, meat. This is white rice or brown rice, corn, and then potatoes. So you can see that it is very, 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 very hard to overdo it on these foods. Because most of the time you're not going to just eat white rice. Most of the time you're not going to eat, corn. Maybe you will just eat potatoes. But look at the calorie count per gram here. So rice and corn is 1 calories per gram, and potatoes are 0.06. And that is why you can smash it in. Now, he does not include fruit on here, which really irritates me. But fruit is somewhere in between corn and potatoes. There's another thing I wanted to go into here.
And is that you eat about 90% of your diet as starches.
Exactly. 90% carbohydrates. Damn it. 90% carbohydrates is where you want to be. 90%. This non-starchy, this 50-50 plate is so bad for because you're just going to end up going into binging because it's not sustainable.
Are loaded with calories, and it should be about 90%, and that's based not upon getting out a dietetic handbook or getting your scale out. It's based on eyeballing your plate. About 90% of the food should be starches, about 10% should be vegetables and fruits. And that's the basic McDougall diet. Starches, let's talk about starches for a minute. Plants, and only thoroughly indoctrinated.
All right, I want to talk about Walter Kempner too. Well, he's going to talk about Walter Kempner. Walter Kempner, I've talked about the rice diet. This dude was straight up using white rice, sugar, fruit, and juice. And he was curing people, and they were getting skinnier and healthier.
Indoctrinated into the importance of starch, because if you aren't,
and this dude made it through the camps and still lived to 94. I think his diet was pretty good.
You don't understand this, and you're back into the situation you were before this lecture started. But let me just take this to one further extreme. I've taught you the basic McDougall diet, which is going to solve the weight problems for almost all of you. I've taught you some variations and what you may be doing wrong, even though your intentions are right, by following the maximum weight loss program. And let me show you the extremes of diet and what it can do for you. And I resort to one of my mentors, Walter Kempner from Duke University. Walter Kempner showed me with his work how powerful diet therapy can be. And he also showed me how difficult it is to cause nutritional deficiencies on simple diets, even diets that contain sugar. Walter Kempner has an unprecedented record of curing people with severe heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease. Amazing work. Not even coming close to the benefits of the drug and the device industries and the surgery industries don't even come close to the results that Walter Kempner got. He was at Duke University for 7 decades. For 2 decades, he offered the primary financial support for Duke University with his rice program. The rice diet consists of white rice. Why do you use white rice? Because he felt it would be more acceptable, more available. Certainly brown rice will work just as well.
If it didn't taste terrible, I would agree with him.
Fruit juice, and table sugar. And those people who are losing too much weight, he would add as much as 2,000 calories of white sugar.
All right, do you hear that? Do you hear that? So people who were losing weight so fast, he had to add 500 grams additional white sugar to these people's diets. just to keep them from losing weight too fast. Now, they weren't gaining weight on this. He slowed their body weight loss with that. So just think about this.
To their diet to prevent them from losing excess weight. The Kepner diet treated all kinds of problems, as I mentioned, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, and so on. It's a diet that I still use.
I mean, look at this. This is nuts. Rice, fruit, sugar diet. 2,400 calories. This is based, so this is the macros. So it would be 2% fat, 4% protein, and 94% sugar. And they were losing weight like crazy. Like crazy. It was so fast. It was so crazy. This dude had to add 500 grams, which is like 2¼ cups of sugar, just to keep them from losing it too fast.
But it's the diet for the nearly dead in my practice.
That is, How can he see this? One of these days, I hope to interview this dude, because I don't understand how he can say this stuff. Like, some of the stuff that he says just does not make sense. He's defending this dude, and then he says that it's for the nearly dead. But it wasn't for the nearly dead with Kepner. He treated everybody this way.
Not for the average person. It's a diet that is 94% sugar.
The only thing that I can think that the reason that he says that, and I'll give him this, is it's boring as hell. It is just straight boring. You have to just know that talking about your diet is more entertaining than your diet.
And yet, essentially 100% of the type 2 diabetics were cured with a diet that was 94% sugar. Morbid obesity. He published studies that...
Not more abundantly obese, like the doctor called me. All right, so this is where I'm going to end it. So if you want to screenshot this is kind of... Participants lost 99 pounds. Average weight loss was 141 pounds on sugar. I haven't watched this one, so let's see where this goes.
All right, so I'm Dr. John McDougall, and this is a question that comes up an awful lot, and that is, should I be eating starches? Should I be eating foods that raise my blood sugar? And the answer is yes. The purpose of eating is to raise your blood sugar.
Oh, people are going to be shrieking at that one. They're not going to be able to handle that.
So that you have these carbohydrates like glucose to power your cells, to power your brain. In fact, there are certain cells in the body that will only live on sugar, like the cells that are present in the kidneys or red blood cells. They have to have sugar. The brain functions best on sugar. In fact, that's its preferred energy source is sugar. So you're looking to raise the blood sugar level, but some people get worried because they've been told that blood sugar rises. When you raise your blood sugar, then what happens is this is a sign of diabetes. Or they already have diabetes and they're fighting to keep the sugar down.
Every time I hear diabetes, I think of that guy that used to promote the oatmeal, the Quaker oatmeal, diabetes. I think he even said it in the commercials. That has nothing to do with this. Sorry, I had to add it.
Because they've been taught that the whole goal of dealing with their disease is to control the blood sugar, to manage that number. So if you make the number good, everything else will be good. Not true.
Most people who are on insulin are obese. I mean, they usually have left obese and hit land whale status.
To get over that. Let's just take the average person who doesn't have diabetes, and you feed them whatever, rice, corn, potatoes, as compared to, say, chicken and beef and so on. I mean, their blood sugars will go up higher because there are sugars in these foods, and the blood sugar is supposed to go up. And they maybe borrow their sister's glucometer, and they're checking their sugar all the time. Don't worry about it. That's what's supposed to happen. And we're talking about reasonable increases in blood sugar, like, let's just say it's around 70 milligrams per deciliter when you aren't eating. Let's just say after you eat, it goes up to 120, 140, 150 milligrams per deciliter. Your blood sugar does. That's what it's supposed to do. If it goes up really high, like 200, 300, 400, then you probably need some medical attention. All right, so let's just talk about the diabetic. We take care of a lot of people with.
All right, I'm going to link this video. So if this video is doing you any good, I'm going to link this video. You can watch it on your own time. And then I wanted to just show old school McDougall. So early days on McDougall.
The message that I try and get people to think of in terms of properly nourishing themselves is that there's a diet that best supports human health. And that diet is centered around starch, like rice or potatoes, or sweet potatoes, corn, taro, with vegetables and fruits. And you know something? In about 10 days, we get almost everybody off of blood pressure pills, diabetic medications, heart medications, and they've lost a considerable amount of weight in that period of time.
And that used to be my world, fish. Oh man, we did a lot of cutting.
The health trend in America's diet is to replace beef with fish. But consider these foods have nutritional characteristics that are very similar. They're all muscle.
I think it's funny too because a lot of fish, not a ton, but a good amount. I'm not even going to list them. Look this up if you feel like. A lot of fish don't have urinary tracts. So they just urinate through their pores. And what does that mean to the consumer? So you're basically eating their piss. And even in the sharks, I will say this, a lot of sharks don't even have a poop channel. Everything just comes out through their pores. So that's what you're eating when you're eating the fish.
Basically, we're talking about the muscle of a cow, a pig, a chicken, or a fish. They're high in fat and or high in protein. They're low in fiber, contain no carbohydrate, and they're highly contaminated because they're high on the food chain. And one thing that will really surprise you is they all are very high in cholesterol. It's a demonstration that's going to prove beyond a doubt the problem is not that we eat too much. I mean, you hear that all the time, that the reason people are fat is because they eat too much. What I want to show you, and through your powers of observation, you will conclude it's what we eat, not how much we eat. Now, what I have here, Dan, is I have stomachs, and these are about the size of your stomach. Yeah, these are glass stomachs. You got to use your imagination a little bit, all right? Now, what I'm going to allow you to do is to eat 500 calories per meal. And I'm going to give you different choices of food to fill your stomach with. And remember, all you get is 500 calories. For your first meal, Dan, I'm going to give you 500 calories of butter. Do you feel pretty satisfied? You feel like your stomach's full?
You can have it.
You don't like butter, okay. Well, I just want to show you what 500 calories of butter would do as far as filling your stomach. And this could also be 500 calories of olive oil or salad dressing that have the same amount of filling, not much, and you'd be very hungry and want more to eat. Now, if we chose, say, 500 calories of meat, that's all the fuller your stomach would get.
I can only imagine how bad his little display smells if this is real live. I doubt it is. It's probably just demonstration stuff, plastics, but ugh.
On 500 calories of meat, you would still be yearning more to eat.
Are you telling me now what I'm responding to when I eat is hunger that is exhibited by the fact my stomach isn't full?
That's right. The way you satisfy your hunger primarily is by filling up your stomach. And so that's what you want to accomplish at every meal, is to fill up your stomach. The average person will burn 1,500 to 3,000 calories a day. And so if we divide the meals up into 500-calorie meals, it gives you some idea of what you might choose for, say, breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Calories in, calories out.
Here's 500 calories.
I still don't agree with it because you can't know. You know, if you're riding bike, if you're exercising, rebounding, if you're running, if you're I don't know, if you had a really busy work day, it's going to change day by day.
Calories of cheese. Again, you know, you're not looking at very much to fill your stomach up.
Now, like I said in the beginning, though, if you're going to eat all this, you know, stuff that he's showing you here, this meat and cheese and dairy and all that, then yeah, you're going to have to follow that CECO.
Now, these are what people often think of as dieting foods, as meat and cheese. But they don't do much as far as filling the stomach. Let's take a look here at 500 calories of rice. And that could be white rice or brown rice. Of course, brown rice is healthier.
No.
A lot more filling. You're a lot more satisfied. Here's 500 calories of corn. Now, that is a lot of food. And here, Dan, I couldn't put 500 calories of potatoes in here. I could only put 400 calories in. So you got to imagine that.
This is the problem I run into with potatoes. This is the problem. I actually don't know if I did an interview with Nick It's Fit and Sugar Fit Jess, and we were talking about this. I can fill up on potatoes, but I'm still hungry. There's just not enough calories in them.
Extra potatoes sitting up here, not able to fit in the stomach.
What happened? Do you see this blue hand here? Just from touching the meat and the cheese, his hand started dying. It's crazy. All right, let's go to when he goes to the restaurant, and then we're going to peace out.
Potato, no butter, no sour cream. I want steamed vegetables.
I'm going to rewind it. You got to see the whole thing. You got to have that VCR thing.
One normally thinks magazine.
I love watching this stuff, VHS tapes.
They asked me which
reminds me of.
I'd like to use. And when I told them, they were really surprised. You see, this is not the kind of restaurant one normally thinks of when they want to eat a vegetarian diet. But just between
I have to wonder if they're still in business.
you and me, I like to eat in places like this, and let me show you why. I'd like to have baked potato, no butter, no sour cream. I want steamed vegetables, again, hold the butter, rice pilaf, and I'd like the salad bar. Now, does the soup come with the salad bar?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the pasta bar and soup bar comes with the entire fresh fruit and salad bar.
No, wasn't that easy? This is one of my favorite salad bars. I can just go crazy here. You start out with a little green salad, maybe add a couple extra tomatoes. You can use some green pepper here. Now, you got to be a little careful with the potato salad and some of the other salads because they're loaded with mayonnaise and oils. I like to add a few extra peas, some wax beans, yeah? Like wax beans a lot. And some kidney beans.
You still got to watch with this stuff. They like to add that oil. They really do. It's harder and harder to do this kind of eating out, going out to eat.
And a little bit of corn, and we'll top it off with a few sprouts.
Man, how do you like this fake tree hanging from the wall here? Man, do I miss the 80s and 90s.
And just for a little bit of extra flavor, we'll just sprinkle a little bit of this on. Now let's go see what's on the other side. Now you notice we're going to pass this, which is full of a mayonnaise-type dressing. Of course, pass the eggs up. And this salad doesn't look like it's so full of oil, so let's try a little bit here. And we'll pass the cottage cheese and the eggs and, oh, little trees. Love little trees. And maybe a couple onions. And a few more green beans here. Now, I have to give up because my plate's full. And look what we have here, a vegetarian minestrone soup. Boy, was I happy to find out that they have noodles made without eggs here. And take a look at this marinara sauce. This is rich, red, delicious marinara sauce.
I have to think that he's got more than 10 grams of fat here, but I don't know. I guess you have to ask when you go to these places. And try to get them to cook it for you if they will.
I mean, how could you ask for anything tastier than this?
Now here's the rest of your order.
Okay, maybe I did order a little too much. But even if I ate all this, it's not going to do me any harm.
All right, that's what I probably could have just put that in the video, but I wanted you to see this, and hopefully most of you made it here. Let's rewind. Let's rewind.
Okay, maybe I did order a little too much. But even if I ate all this, it's not going to do me any harm. If you're not a vegetarian, I'd like you to try eating like one for just one evening. I guarantee you're going to feel better.
All right, that's it. This is my video. Could have just started, ended there. Even if you ate all of that, it doesn't matter because it's just going to get burned off, stored, and it's not going to turn into fat. So that is my video. Yes, you can smash it in if it's the right foods. Just don't annihilate your stomach. If you're in there trying to pop your stomach, then you're eating too much. So that's my video. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, leave them down below. Give me a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. If I can find the stop record.